students are gone, but you are still here. And we know how you feel because you are done. But you have so much work to do to get ready for tomorrow. Good afternoon, podcast listeners everywhere. Welcome to After the Bell, a Stunt Brothers production. A podcast that gets inside the life of a teacher and provides a wellness guide for being prepared to take on this most challenging of professions. I'm Martin Stuvel.
And I'm Roy Hunt. And we share your pain, having taught a combined 70 years. The guarantee of this podcast is to make you laugh, make you think, and give you at least one little nugget that you can use in the classroom. So get out your marking, organize your supplies, or just pour yourself a coffee.
I want something stronger.
And listen, engage, and interact with After the Bell, a podcast for you, the hard-working, dedicated teacher who wants 3 lesson plans, free advice, and a free meal.
Okay, Roy, but I'm not paying for anything more than McDonald's. Roy, put the phone away.
I'm listening to some classic rock. I'm getting ready for a concert.
Okay, what's going on here? Just okay, there. Come on, we have a podcast here. What?
Okay.
Classic rock?
I'm
going to
listening to classic rock. I have
Stones?
a playlist. I'm listening to the Stones.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening to the Who.
Okay.
And I'm listening to Neil Young.
So I'm guessing that's who you're going to see?
I'm going to see Neil Young.
Oh, when's this?
On Saturday at Burnaby Lake.
Oh, I love that's a great location for concerts.
It's a great place. It's an outdoor concert right on lake, kind of in a grassy, hilly area where you could just sit in the grass.
Yeah.
And I've been looking forward to this.
I say this with complete love for Neil Young, but he can be a real ornery old bastard. And,
can't we all?
But he chooses what he wants to play. But I've heard he actually is playing the songs people want to hear.
He's been playing a lot. And he just recently, touring in the States, wrote a song specifically for the orange-faced Cheeto
that's great.
in South of Us.
I like it.
And I love the fact that, I mean, he's bringing up some of these protest songs. He's looking what's happening south of us. And
he's not stopping, is he?
He's not. No. He's taking a bold stand, and I'm looking forward to him. He has a new band. It's Neil Young and the Chrome Hearts, I believe.
Okay.
And
it's not Crazy Horse.
It's not Crazy Horse.
Okay.
So I was going to go last year, but he canceled, and this year he's back in full force.
Back with a vengeance.
and on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Well, you got the phone away now? You got the
phone's
focus
away.
on? I guess this is S2E2. Right? So it's time to focus on S2E2.
R2D2?
What? It's not a Star Wars podcast. So.
Okay. Et tu Brute?
Yeah. I did go to Bard on the Beach. So speaking of Shakespeare, fantastic show. And so I went to Bard on the Beach, and it was the Two Gentlemen of Verona.
Okay.
And I always just love the location there. And they often do different ways of taking it and setting it in different times. So they set it in the 80s. So it was all 80s music, which just was so much fun.
Well, nice.
If nothing else, I mean, it's your typical Three's Company mix-up of the Shakespeare tragedy, right? But the music was just fantastic.
So that would be season 2.
So yes, S2E2 is we're now in season 2. Episode 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. And we're in the box. We're back in the box. We had a bit of a smoky ride to get here. The skies are getting a little hazy, I'm afraid.
Not purple haze.
No, right? Keeping with the music theme.
Yes, but a little bit of gray haze. Yes.
We're getting some smoke. I mean, the rest of Canada has certainly experienced lots of smoke. We've been lucky. We've been lucky this summer, but it's gets me down when I see that smoke. I can't help it. So I'm glad we're in here and getting my mind off that, because that could be a whole,
and you could just
podcast on its own.
And you can just focus on our banter.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly. That will cheer me up
there you
and
go.
not let me go
focus on my weaknesses and to elevate yourself.
And just trying to get you focused, right? Put things away. You get so distracted.
Okay. All right.
But this is fun. We're in season 2.
Yep.
Last week's episode was wonderful. It's getting a lot of good feedback, and we once again thank Nick for coming on and kind of getting us not onto school right away. But I mean, this week I think we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yes, I think. We will get there eventually. But there are some people who are there right now.
They are there right now. And I mean, the funny thing is, I was what was it? I guess. Was it yesterday? First day of school?
Yesterday was the first day of school.
It was.
Yes, it was.
So we're a few days. This is for you listening. It's going to be last week. This will be on Monday, September 8th. Will be this episode where we're recording just a few days before that. And I went by a school, saw the kids, saw the parents dropping off the kids, and I felt a little sad.
Oh,
yeah, I did. Even though I'm retired, I go, I miss that. And I don't know if other teachers are feeling that right now, but there's something about the excitement and the hope of the new year. Everything is possible, right? It's going to be the best class ever. And I miss that.
I'm going to be the best teacher ever.
Right? Right? This will be it. This will be the year.
It'll be the golden year.
Right? Everything I imagine and plan will take place. The kids will be perfect. It's the grade I want, right?
Well,
so I miss that. And I don't know. I do like that excitement and connecting with my class. And what were you playing? What was that song at the very beginning? It actually is ringing a bell in my head thinking about what we're talking about.
You can't always get what you want.
Okay. I guess that's what we're thinking here. And that's what
we're thinking.
What do I want? Am I retired? I want to get back in the class. Make up your mind, Mr. Stubel.
Yes.
Though you maybe can get what you want. Maybe you've got it. You got the retirement, and you're going to be back in the class where they're going to go, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Hunt.
For one more year.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, Mr. Who?
Well, but if you keep it going, especially at a school like Ridgeway, the myth will just continue, right? It will just continue. They won't know you as a teacher. You're just that super TLC that comes in and makes their day, and they wish you were there all the time, right? And that's what you're going to get soon.
And then I'm happy that I'm not there all the time.
Yeah, so you do. That's what I mean. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe you can get what you want all the time. But I'm feeling our theme is more that you can't always get what you want, which is challenging, especially this time of year. Sometimes it might not be the grade you want, might not be the assignment you want, right? So it's learning to deal with that. And then connect with the class. So is that our theme?
That is our theme.
That's going to be our theme, and we'll talk more. And we're going to do without the sounds this episode. We have that ding, and then there's
you just put a sound in there.
I just did. Okay, well normally there'd be a sound here, but we're not doing the sound. So imagine that you heard the sound, and we're on to the nugget. Right? It's the nugget time. Because we said our theme is you can't always get what you want. Thanks to you playing on your phone at the beginning. You thought you could get what you want. You thought I could just do my TikTok video watching and watch this and do the podcast.
And do the podcast.
I'm
do
sorry.
it together.
Yeah, right?
I can't.
But don't you find, speaking of TikTok, a lot of the videos, and I try to watch many things to do with teaching and people that are posting things, they're almost a little bit too negative for this time of year. Right?
Yeah. I think if you were a new teacher and you did some scrolling, it would be doom scrolling about your career.
Yeah. And if you were looking into becoming a teacher, you certainly wouldn't be doing it, right? You'd be running away fast.
Yes.
And sometimes you do have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. This is your year. This is the grade you have. Maybe it's not the grade you wanted, right? Maybe there are certain students you ended up getting weren't your first choice, right? But that's not how it works.
Well, it reminds me of one of my favorite snacks when I was younger called Bits and Bites. They had pretzels and Cheerios and these little cheesy sticks and sort of
I know it.
like a shreddy kind of thing in it. Right? And you'd reach in the bag and you'd pull out a handful and you look at that and you didn't sort of, I don't want that, and put it back in the bag. No, you
try again.
You got, which would be great. I want all pretzels, right? It'd be nice
to teach probability in your class.
Yes,
with this, right?
That would be a great one.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's what you have to work with,
right?
And it's still.
It's a mix of
It's a
everything,
mix,
yeah.
and it's yours, and you
You
make
might get more pretzels this year
Yeah.
and more cheesies next
Cheesies.
time, but that's just the way it is.
it is, and so you make the best of it.
And you kind of have to have hope at this time of year. Like I know in this podcast, we'll focus on the challenges. This isn't all just about, get over it and deal with it and come on, move on. We understand that. We're here to support you. And we know this is a tough job. We say that over and over again. But in September, you got to start with hope, right?
Yes.
Like a new hope.
A new
I
hope.
think of Star
That's
Wars.
a Star Wars connection
right? The first
there, yeah.
episode, right?
Yes.
A new hope until Darth Vader shows up. And that will happen, right? But right now, he is not showing up. Well, I mean, he does at the beginning of the film, but you're gonna bring him on. You're gonna defeat him. So you got hope that you can win this.
You got
right?
hope,
and it's about the hope right now.
And I think the hope is that, again, it's like that handful of that delicious snack I was talking about.
Yes.
You can have hope in the sense that the class that you have, you can mold them or shape them or direct them by doing some of the things we talked about in our first season.
Right.
In our first season, in episode 15, we talked about building a class culture.
And we talked about that being what you do at the beginning of the year. So this is a chance to put it into practice because we're starting this season 2 in September.
That's right. And making connections was also episode 2 of season 1. And the same thing, making connections with your students, making connections with your class. So what we're really looking at is the hope.
Yes.
And the hope is by putting some time and energy into making those connections and making the class culture work in a sense where you have influenced the dynamics in the classroom, and then you have more hope because you have more connection, and then it's easier to facilitate the kind of things you
we said
want
that
as
if
a
you don't
teacher.
take hold of the culture and build it with your class at the beginning, there will be a class culture, and that may be part of the loss of hope you have further down the road, right? But don't you
Darth
think?
Vader.
I mean, our theme, right?
Yeah.
I can hear the Darth Vader theme. I used to use that for math.
I did too.
Beginning of math, it was a great way to start it. But you can just think about our theme, which we said you can't always get what you want. But actually, don't you think by focusing on the class culture, focusing on making those connections with students, maybe you can help get what you want, right?
Yes.
You can help make the class the way you want it to be. So, we say it using the Stone song and the idea you can't always get what you want, but we want to help you so you can get what you want in the end of the day, right? And maybe we could share some of the ideas and things we've done just to get yourself started in the year before you're worrying about curriculum, right?
Yes.
Don't worry about rote learning and giving some tests on how much they know in their multiplication scores, right? Put that aside. Focus on building connections and building a class culture.
One of the first things that I think of is just making sure that the students in the class know each other's name. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of classes that I've been in when I was platooning or even as a TTOC last year, and I would go into a classroom and I would try really hard to remember the names after I heard them only once or twice.
Yeah.
Talk about a challenge.
Yeah.
And I would ask a student, okay, what's the name of that student over there? And he goes, well, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's like halfway through the school year. And some of them, honestly, they're not pretending.
Then. The students don't connection with each other then, right? For sure.
And so and I know I always wanted to get my students to connect with each other, and the first thing is by knowing someone's name.
Yeah.
And I used to say to them, I've never met anyone named Hey You.
I like that, right?
Right? There's no one named Hey You. Find out the names.
Until that one day Hey You shows up.
Yeah. Then you're like, what? So one of the things that I would do as in for a name was obviously we'd have name tags on the desks.
Yes, yeah.
And I would have a cardstock that would be a trifold that would make into a name that would sit on the desk. But as an introduction activity, I would have the students look at writing in the corner of the cardstock, so it would be the inside of the name tag, and they had to write 4 things.
Okay.
And they could do it in words, or they could draw pictures, right? I mean, this is just about getting people to write down some things, and I wasn't worried about spelling or anything.
No, because they're in this new class, and they're looking around going, what's this culture going to be like?
Right.
So you're establishing that by doing things like that, for sure.
So what I would do is that they would, let's say the top left corner, they would draw a picture or write their favorite food. Mm-hmm. And then in the top right corner, they would write their favorite place to go to. Mm-hmm. And on the bottom, the bottom left would be something they dislike.
Okay.
And on the bottom right is a place they always wanted to visit that they've never been to.
So it's a chance for them to show my voice is going to be heard in this class, right?
Right. Yeah. So they would do that. And then I would put on some classic rock or some music that I think that age group would listen to. And I would play it. And the idea they would walk around the classroom. And when I stopped the music, it's called milling to music.
Okay.
I'd stop the music, and they would have to introduce themselves. And they would say, like, "Hi, my name's John, and I dislike big hairy spiders." And someone said, "Well, my name is Bob."
Right.
Okay. Right. And I like sushi, which a lot of kids do like sushi, which is interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I would turn on the music and we'd go around. And then I would always ask for volunteers. And after doing this for a while, I would ask students to introduce someone that they met.
Right.
And tell me at least one thing about them or more.
It. Yeah.
And again, is there awkwardness in the beginning?
Of course there is.
Oh, of course there is. We
all feel that when we're at a meeting sometimes. Yeah. You're made to do those things.
Yes, right? When you're the new teacher on staff, it feels a little. But I would also, as Mr. Hunt, I would wander around and I would see students who would maybe be avoiding that. So I would go see them.
You're learning things about your class right away on day one.
And I'm memorizing their names at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I would do a couple things too that first day that would establish the culture. We would name cards as well, but I would do like the name bluffing game, the interview game. I'll get into that in a sec. But the first thing was with the names, and they would have to go through and go around the class, and it'd be like alliteration of their name, like it would be Sensational Sam, right?
Yes.
Karen, right, kind of thing, and then we would go through and everyone would have to say the person that came before them, and it would get harder and harder until it would end with me, and I'd have to go through the entire class. And they all knew at least half of each other, right? So they didn't know their names, but for me, they were new students. So it actually forced me to learn their names pretty darn fast, right? And they were very supportive, helping me along. So they learned that, okay, Mr. Stubel, he can make mistakes and we'll help him learn the names. But it was just a fun way. And then from that, we'd lead into this interview bluffing game, where I would pair them up and they would have to interview another student and had a bunch of questions that some of them they would make up themselves. Some of them were just, what are you most looking forward to this year? What was your best moment from grade 2 or whatever, those kind of things. But it would end with the bluffing game where they would say 3 facts about themselves. 2 would be true, 1 would be a lie. And then they would then come up with their partner, and they would introduce their partner. So it also made them have to suddenly realize in this class you actually have to learn to speak out and speak in front of the class. And they would present their partner, and then they'd get to the bluffing game, and we as a class would try to guess, okay, which one was made up, which one was not true.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was just a great kind of icebreaker. And, I'd often go up there, and I'd always do mine as well. For example, for me, it might be, I have a daughter named Savannah, and I went to Ross Road as a child, and I was once chased by hippos in the Zambezi River. So they would choose that one, but that actually was the true one, right? The false one would be I didn't go to Ross Road, I went to Ridgeway. So it was just fun, and I like to right away get into the class and participate with them and be part of the activity. Yes. And I'm making notes and thinking about it. I mean, I'm not walking around with a clipboard, but I'm mentally analyzing things. And at recess, I can jot a few things down. I'm discovering that class for myself. I'm learning about these kids for the first time. Nobody told me who was going to be more trouble than someone else or what I needed to do, but I could see it. And I could also let them know this was a new beginning for you.
Yes. Which isn't that a Star Wars reference?
Yeah, right. It's another one, right? A new beginning, right?
But I agree. I wouldn't go to a teacher and say, like, okay, I have so-and-so in my class, and he was in your class last year. Tell me about them. I wouldn't go looking for things from last year because I'm all about a fresh start, fresh eyes, new group, new students, and new groupings. And one of the things that I like to do, I know, because it's amazing if you just, when the students come into your classroom, if you just let them come in, who they sit with.
You right
Obviously,
away see, yeah.
You see who they sit with, and it's not always the best combination. They know each other, and so they focus on each other or in the group, and already start excluding people from that moment. So I've done a number of things where I know, actually, this is, I pulled this from one of the ideas from Martin Stuball, a good friend of mine.
I've heard of it.
And he has a stickocracy.
Okay.
Right? And put everybody's name on a stick.
Yeah.
And then, say, make new groups.
Right,
or things like that. I like to use a deck of cards,
Yes.
shuffle them up. How many students are in the
Yeah.
classroom? Everyone who has an ace is in a partnership.
Yeah.
And or numbers, or even if there's a specific topic that you're dealing with, make groupings based on that. Could be pictures of animals or whatever. There's a little bit of a higher thinking
for sure.
skill there, but it's still making groups
Yeah.
that they don't normally.
And don't you think that's important to establish in the first week, that in the culture in this class, you're going to work with everybody? And that's why I would do those things. And I started to use Classroom Screen, which has a name generator and a group generator, and they can see the names suddenly flip through, and then that's their group. And I would change it up every day, the groups they were sitting with. You know, and it just establishes that this is how it is going to be. And I always told them, I think I remember an old teacher telling me this story too, when kids didn't want to work with someone. It was Chuck Dixon, good friend. He was in his 70s now, but I remember him telling me, I tell my kids when they say they don't want to work with anyone, I go, imagine, okay, one day in the future, you're this world famous surgeon, right? You're going into the surgery and you've got yourself all prepped and everything, and then you're working with this other doctor and they walk in and you go, I can't work with them. They're not my friend, right? Right? And it's true, right? This is actually a job coming to school as well. So it's not just about being with your friends. It's learning to work with everyone. So that's established in the culture of that first week.
Right. Yes. I love to do outdoor scavenger hunts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, but again, making new groupings and there are two ways of doing it. One of the groupings that I love to do is if there are 4 people or 5 people in a group or whatever size of group, you give them all a hula hoop. Okay. And they have to hold on to it. So they can't run in 5 different directions. Okay. They'd have to move as a group. So there's some cooperation there, some working together. I've also given them, a piece of rope, so they'd had to hold on to that. But I like the idea of the hula hoop, so that they're taking the time, they're working with the strengths and weaknesses in the group. Some people like to run fast, but that slows them down. And some people are great thinkers, and so they get to connect with the person who might normally just, run full tilt to be first.
Right.
It's not about being first.
They can't.
It's about the group.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool activity, especially when the weather's nice.
Yeah, no. And it is about hope for me, because I often would use this book. It's Imagine a Day. It's a book by Sarah L. Thompson, and she would have Imagine a Day, and it was when the sky is the ground. It's just some beautiful illustrations in there. So I would read that to the class. It's all about imagining through books, really, whatever you want. And then we create our own posters on that. And it's just, to me, I'd have them up around. That was the first art I'd put up around the room. And it would kind of set the tone. And I always did the bio poems. You probably saw those in my class forever, right?
Oh, I've done those too.
And it was just about themselves, right? And it gave you a sense of who they were, right? And it was hearing their voice and learning about them, and not having some teacher, because teachers would often come and go, "Oh, can I go? I can go through your class list if you like," and because other teachers would do that, and I go, "No, I don't want to hear it."
No.
Of course, we have to know about the IEPs
Yep.
and certain students that have supports. We need to know those right away.
Yes.
But I don't need to know if a student had a bad year just because something happened at home, or kids mature, kids move on, could be environment, could be all these other things that I want to give them a chance. And I would tell the class, in my mind, you're all A students this year. You're all perfect little angels, right?
Oh, wow.
Right? And I don't go in here from other teachers. And, I could see some of them just kind of relax, knowing that they weren't going to be judged based on maybe they had a bad year, right? Let's move on.
Let's
right?
move
Let's
on.
move
Yes.
on. Yeah, right?
Let's move on.
Yeah. What else did you do? And
I did.
these are all kind of your first week kind
The
of
first
ideas.
week.
Yes, right.
I did this thing with cup stacking, which was great, where I used an elastic. And let's say there were 5 people in the group, so there'd be 5 strings tied to the elastic. And the cups would be your typical drinking cup, the red cups maybe like you would have if you were at a party or something like that. And the idea is you had all these cups on one side of, let's say, one side of the room, and they had to stack the cups 4, 3, 2, 1. But they couldn't touch it. They had to, as a group, pull on the string, or pull on their string. But the elastic would widen, and then they'd slip it over the cup that was on the ground. Then they had to carry the cup to the new spot and put it down. And so, again, cooperation and be able to stack the cups so that the group that would have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on the number of students in the class and the day or whatever. But that was again a good cooperative activity. That
I like those kind of open-ended kind of things, even in math too, because a lot of people I see them jumping right into handing out sheets on whether they know their multiplication tables. That first week, I can't learn anything about a student in terms of his own culture and what he's bringing if he's just sitting at a desk answering questions, right? I want to do these things where I see him interacting with other students. And I often would do a math game called Moons Around the Planet. And this is courtesy of Mr. Sean Parr.
Oh.
He tried this years ago, and you roll five die, and I know what it adds up to us. There's a certain thing that makes the numbers be what they are. So you roll them. You can either use it electronically on the screen or roll dice in front of the kids. And you'd say, okay, I roll this. That is 4. And the kids would have to try to guess, how did you get 4?
Well, how did you get 4?
They're coming with all these different ways.
Right?
And I keep saying, and remember, it's called Moons Around the Planet. That's the big clue about how I'm getting these numbers. But because you can find all sorts of ways. So I'd say, okay, who thinks they know? And people would get it once in a while. I say, okay, you're going to now do a second one. And I do it, and they often would not get it the second time.
Okay.
If they get it a second time, I say, okay, let's do it a third time. And if they got it 3 times, they had figured out what Moons Around the Planet really meant. And I said, you're now part of the Moons Around the Planet Club. And it was just a fun way of kind of getting math going in a way that was very open-ended, comfortable. Everybody could participate and do it. They'd all have a way of getting the answer, but no one would have to feel, let's say, inferior because of maybe weak math skills that we would then work on throughout the year, which are important. I'm not saying assessment is not important. Of course it's important, right? But this is the first week. We're building culture, my friends, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
One other activity I love is I love to use my voice in different ways, and that background in theater helps. I have this favorite book called The Legend of Rock, Paper, Scissors.
Okay. I do not know that one. No.
In the book, it talks about how rock is basically in the yard, in the backyard, and just wants to dominate and is never beaten. I can't find a worthy opponent. So, and I use, I am rock, right? And the kids are all connected to that. But it's basically rock, paper, scissors, obviously, but done in a very funny way. And I use all the voices. But then what we do is we go outside, and I split the group as students into usually 4, and I get hula hoops. And the idea is each group stands behind a one colored hula hoop. They have to hop on 2 legs forward.
Okay.
And then when they encounter someone from another team, they have to rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
And then if they defeat the person who's defeated has to go back to the end of their line.
Yeah.
They get to progress. And when they get to just one hoop away from where the line starts, there's a pile of beanbags. And so if they defeat the person in that line, they get to take a beanbag. And so it's the first group to get all the beanbags. But it's interactive. There's cheering.
I think rock, paper, scissors will last another 1,000 years. It's one of those things that somehow, there's something about it that it's just equals to playing field and kids really enjoy it.
And they know, and there's ways to adapt it so that everybody can have an opportunity. Yeah. I made for some of the students who might not be able to have the manual dexterity to do it quickly. We shuffled up some pieces of paper like cards that would have the symbol rock, paper, scissors, and so they would pull one out and go like that, and then to see if they won or not. So again,
I like that, and
but it's good, it's active, team building.
Yeah. And there's ways to learn about your class. I would often now have them all write a number between 1 and 1,000,000 on a card, right? And just randomly, no one would know what it was but them, right? And then they would have to line up silently and put themselves in order.
Oh, I like that.
And you could help people. You could say, put people around, move. Yeah. But the fact you could see those that were kind of lost with their number, right away I'm getting a sense this person doesn't have number sense, right?
Yeah.
But they had to figure out, and the numbers would be anywhere from 1 to 1,000,000. And I would just use whole numbers for this. But later on in the year, I'd start to use decimals with this activity and that kind of thing.
Great.
And it was really,
I really I mean, you can do the same thing with your birth date, the month, and the day, or just go with the month that you're born in, or the month and the day. You can have them being able to talk to each other, put them in order, or no talking.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like that. Anything else we want to do for this?
There's so much. I would say one thing on my end, like many STEM activities can be really used for that. And you can go online and we can post some things on our website. Yeah. But many STEM activities have opportunities for group competition. I know one. I use marshmallows and toothpicks to see who can build the tallest tower. And I've done it with spaghetti and marshmallows too.
And you mentioned many activities you mentioned today were outside activities. And I would try to do that a lot that first week, especially because the weather is usually pretty nice in September. Yes. But whether it was math, science, art, we'd do things outside, which shows that the culture of this class is to go outside and do things outside and learn and interact with the environment out there. And that's establishing it. But I think because we have our website, stuntbrothers.ca, and we really, this year, one of our goals, if we're looking at goals, is to really encourage people to go to that site, teachers around the world, and under the resource page, we really want to kind of get that going. That's right. We kind of dabbled with it last year, but a lot of these ideas we're talking about for the beginning of the year, we'll put there. And there's always a comment page where you can always go in and add your own ideas for what you do to build
I would
culture.
love to know what other people do. Yeah. Again, sharing with others, because if we put things out there and other people put things onto the comment board, then we can share those with other people. Because when you have more and more ideas to draw from, it gives the more games you have, the more activities you have in the gray matter bank of your head. Yeah, no. It's just easier to drop something. So things aren't going right now. Yes. Things are kind of crazy. Maybe the kids aren't paying attention. He says when you have access to a number of things, then
a whole smorgasbord, right?
Yes. Yeah. Right? Because really, one of the greatest skills that you can develop is being able to think on your feet.
Yeah, and I like bringing in activities they're not all computer based. You've mentioned many things today that are hands-on, using cards, going outside, hula hoops, physical things that they're playing with, but learning about the environment, learning about the subject. So go to stuntbrothers.ca, look at our resource page, and we will add many of these activities that we've talked about today. And that is where we're at with the golden nugget and suggestions and ideas to say, well, you can't always get what you want, but if you work hard, just try. Maybe you'll get there anyway.
Get there.
Right?
Anyways,
so we'll just move on, and no sounds today, but we might have the homework board coming up.
Yes, Martin, we do indeed have the homework board now.
Okay. Well, what? There's no field trip. We started the year with a field trip last week.
That's right.
So that was like, wow, we hit a home run with that field trip.
Yes.
We got to go to the P&E on the first field trip of the year. Talk about building a class culture. I love this class. Right?
There you go.
But no, there's no field trip. But we have a homework.
And so for the homework board, we were wanting you to look at the things that are working, the things that you're feeling good about right now.
Right.
And it's about the more you can find about the things that are feeling good, the more you can buoy yourself into a positive attitude.
Because if you can come to some realization that you can't always get what you want, well, what
can you do?
What are you having? What's happening this year that you actually go, you know what? This is going to be a good year.
And it can be as simple as, this new classroom that I'm in, I really like the light in here. I like the way it looks.
Right? Or, I'm next to the bathroom this year, right?
To the bathroom.
As a teacher,
people will pay for that.
That's prime real estate, right? That rush to the bathroom or recess and lunch for sure.
Yes. It could be that you're happy about the grade grouping that you're teaching.
Yes, yeah.
Or it could be that there's someone else that's in this grade grouping that you're teaching that you have a good connection with. So there's a possibility of platooning.
Together, right? So get excited
or doing
about
something.
that.
Get excited about that for sure.
Yeah, and I think the fact that if you focus on the culture and making connections with the students, it's going to make it a positive first week rather than worry about everything else in the curriculum and those things, right? This way you can dwell on that and not worry about what you can have, what you can't get, but worry about what you can do, what you can control. Now, what would you say to someone that if they go, I don't know, I'm still not sure about certain things and I don't feel in control of this first week? Are there certain things people could do that could get them focused? What pops into my mind is maybe do check out the IEPs.
Yes.
Right? I still would recommend that because that will give you a sense of certain students and make sure that their needs are being met and that you're going to have the EA time they're supposed to get and all those things. Right?
Yes, so definitely you need to look at those students with letter designations for their IEPs. It's good to know what the IEP from last year was so that you can support the student. And then very quickly you will be meeting with, I guess we say our LSTs and with our resource workers who will come in and help you with those students. But in that first week, you want to make sure that they feel comfortable in the classroom. Knowing what allergies are going on in the classroom.
There's certain health things
concerns
you need to know.
For sure,
right?
you need to know.
And that empowers you when you're on top of that. You don't look like you don't know at certain moments, right?
And then there might be a few students that just kind of pop up that don't have letter designations, who you don't know anything about. And then maybe look at their files. Too.
Yeah. Those red flags that pop out based on those little activities you've been doing, those making connections activities. And if you're looking for something to do that also will help you focus this week on making connections and building a class culture, I would recommend go back to season 1 of our show. In episode 2 is making connections. Episode 15 was building a class culture. And we also included there on that episode 15 on our website under resources, we posted the 7 dimensions of class climate. And that's really worth another look, right? I think that's set in writing for people to look at. We have them on our list there that you can go, oh, okay, these are the things. And you can realize that I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I think that's going to make you feel better too.
That's right.
And if you're a new teacher, reach out. Don't try to do these things alone, right? Yes. Don't try to figure out this school alone, right? We've all been there. We all know what it's like, right?
Yes, we do.
And talk to that teacher across the hall. Talk to your administrator. Say, I don't understand this. How do I do this? That's okay, and that will help you kind of build that and get your sense of the school as well. And also, if you're new to the school, you might be a veteran teacher, but it's still a new place. So
that's right.
There you go.
Well, I think we've got that straightened out.
I think we do.
Maybe we should go to the detention hall.
Okay. I think I've got an idea for something that should go into detention hall because
really?
I think this takes away from building class culture and
Okay.
making connections with your students that first week. So I would put those administrative tasks, including too many meetings at the start of the school year, I'd put them into the detention hall. The beginning of the year should be about you building that class culture so you can have the most successful year possible. But it shouldn't be about having to attend another meeting that often, I think it's just information.
Filled with information
right?
that could be
you could send in an email, right?
Sent in an email, yes.
So I think teachers need to have that time. That if I was in charge of things, I don't think I'd even have the kids come until Wednesday, Thursday, or even next week, and teachers would have this week to really
Right.
get ready. If they were really treated like professionals, you want to get me on a rant here, right? My rant would say, treat them like professionals. Let's start the kids in next week, right? The second week. The first week, teachers have the time to really get yourself prepared for this roller coaster, to use last week's
Yes.
theme, right? That you're
Yes.
about to jump on.
I agree.
But for now, at least, I'd say administrators and other people that are in charge of giving information to teachers, tone it back, right? Tone it back. If there's stuff you can send in an email, send it in an email. This first week is about the teacher who wants to get ready and wants to build connections and
With their
really
students.
understand
Yeah.
where they're going and make
I
a
agree.
culture. So that's the detention hall. There you go. I think we got that covered. How about rear view mirror time? That's another one of our segments. If you're a new listener, we have these different segments, and one we have is rear view mirror. We always talk about, if you want to know where you're going, you got to look from where you came.
That's right.
So what should we do for rear view mirror this week?
I guess I'm looking back on my career as
Yeah.
a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Roy, freshly graduated
Okay.
from Queen's University.
Okay, so trying to kind of empathize with the teacher who
Yes.
might be new. Okay.
And I had my tie on, and I had a little suit jacket.
I can see it. I can see it.
And I was in my hometown, and I got called in as a TOC, a teacher on call, a substitute teacher.
So this is like one of your first?
One of my first
Oh my gosh. Wow.
in the school that I went to,
Oh, weird.
and in the class of one of my teachers.
No way.
And the individual, very, very strict, very.
Did you right away feel like you
I
were not
felt
like colleagues here? Like
I
you
felt
maybe were
like
a student, right? Yeah.
12-year-old boy in
You
the
would.
classroom and looking at her.
And you were actually working together in the classroom? Or like-
I was
okay.
working with her. She was in and out of the classroom, and I think she might have been even pretty surprised to see
Right.
me. But I did what, I'm in the classroom. She
Yes.
left the room, and I made, tried to make connections.
Yes,
right.
yeah. Even from the start, you were doing that,
doing
right?
math,
Yeah.
and I remember that after that day, I got called back again, and she pulled me aside and she said, "We had a little problem with one of the students in my class yesterday."
yeah.
And I said, "Okay," and I asked her to do some mathematics, and the student said, "Well, Mr. Hunt explains it way better, and he understands me."
Okay.
And then this teacher was giving me a warning that she felt that this girl felt too attracted to me,
Oh,
or something
gosh.
like
Oh.
that, and all it
Awkward.
was
Oh, my
was
gosh.
that
Wow.
I was just working with all the students, and it's so.
So do you think the teacher was kind of jealous a bit that you were seen as a better teacher than she was in this moment?
I don't know,
Who
but
she didn't see herself as equal to you, maybe, right?
But what I found was interesting, that I was just working with the students, making connections, and helping with math, and I didn't see that the interest that all the students had in me working with them. I was a younger teacher, definitely compared to the teacher that I was in for, but it was like. It was a strange feeling, and I was like, as a new teacher, should I be more aware of that?
Yeah.
But in the end, she gave me the information, and I still continued to teach the way I would normally teach.
Right.
And but it did feel weird.
Of course it would
because
be.
I didn't feel like an adult when I was in a school.
And that doesn't feel so good.
I
Right?
felt like a kid. Maybe that's why they're connecting with me. He said, he's like us.
That's probably what it is, right? Though it's funny because I get strong memories of my first year. Started teaching in 1990 at Longsdale, and I remember what was it, the first day or two, and I mean I was 24, but I looked really young. And one of the teachers went, "Are you one of the grade 7 students here?" And I think it was tongue in cheek a bit, right? But it's like again, you kind of feel, like, oh, I don't feel like an adult right now when someone says that to me. And then another example where I kind of felt like a child. I'm in my classroom. I was in a portable, which, as I've said in past episodes, sometimes I was grateful I was in that portable because, I could learn the trade in a very challenging teaching situation without disturbing a class next door. But after school, my whole career, I've always put on music and sung along with the music, and it's kind of a way for me to unwind. And I remember I'm playing some classic rock song, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe some Stones. You can't always get what you want, right?
Maybe
Might have been
Neil
singing
Young.
to that.
Yep.
Singing away, and suddenly I hear this voice come over the PA system. And it's our administrator. And she says, "Oh, so that's what you do after school, right?" Okay. I mean, but it was done in a way like I was, yeah. And she was listening.
Yeah.
Like she obviously listened to. There was, I think, in those days, the PA system, it was a two-way function. You could actually eavesdrop in classrooms, and I really felt like 10 years old then to know that who knows how long she had been listening to me sing away, and it was kind of ironic a bit because she was the one who hired me the year before. I only TOC'd for 6 weeks my whole career. Right?
Oh,
I've only ever,
nice.
maybe that's why I don't want to TOC. I've only done it for 6 weeks, right?
You don't know how.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But I know enough what to do to get a job hired full-time the following September. So in 1990 in May, I graduated from UBC, and I TOC'd for 6 weeks. And I was at this woman's school. She was not at Longsdale. It was Mount Royal. She was the principal. Mm-hmm. And I was at that school, and she said, "Okay, you've got this grade 7 class. There's been a different TOC there every day. It's a really, really tough class. So just, it's going to be a challenge. I might check in on you once in a while." Okay. So at the end of the day, she comes to me and goes, "I checked a few times. That was amazing. It was so silent." She said, "I came throughout the day, and every time I came, I would listen. It was so quiet." She said, "There's a job opening up at Longsdale. You should apply for it." Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I knew about this job, which I then got hired for. You know what my secret was? Silent ball. Yeah. If they got through half an hour, right, we would play silent ball for about 10, 15 minutes, and we did that throughout the day. And I sometimes feel like a fraud because I got hired in North Van because of silent ball, right? But hey, it worked. And that's kind of this job too, right? You kind of have to improvise sometimes. Yep. And that worked with this class, and we got along just fine. So that was my beginning. And
making connections with silent ball.
Right? Absolutely. Yep. And I think this has been a great second episode. It's nice to get ready for the year, get people excited about their class. And I hope a lot of you are looking at your class and you're looking at your first week and going, "Oh, yeah, this is going to be a great year."
And the thing is, you can start seeing it gel, and you start seeing combinations that you really like. Yeah. And that's always that's the excitement. I miss that.
I mean, I fell in love with my class every year. At the end of the day, I did. They were my family, and I had many challenging classes over the years, but I never hated them. I never hated my year, no matter how hard it got. I just love that feeling of building this family and going, "Oh, there's all these kids that I'm now going to make a connection with and be dad and whatever it is and help guide them." And that's the joy and wonder of teaching.
Well, I've been called mom before. Just like,
that's all
come
right.
up, "Hey, mom." And they looked at me and I go, "Yes." And they're like, but when there's a comfort, when a student will accidentally refer to you as a family member, there's a comfort level there that's amazing.
Yeah. And that's why I often you've said it before, in my classroom, we'd look in and I'd have the couches and the low lighting and that kind of thing. And I kind of made it like home, right? I want it to be a comfortable place. And I even had parents go, "Oh, your home must be kind of nice. How nice your classroom is." I go, "No, my home's like a classroom. Fluorescent lights, desks in a row." So should we call it a day?
Let's call it a
that
day.
episode 2 and wish everyone well on your second week of class.
Yes.
And we know there's new hope. We know that you can't always get what you want. But you could still be satisfied with what you got and be excited
and you can
about
work towards
the potential.
what you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. This podcast is organic, taking shape with each episode. Building resiliency for teachers everywhere.
That sounds great.
And our website is stuntbrothers.ca.
That's stuntbrothers.ca.
We will chat again
After the bell.